I am with Graham Linehan, everybody. Welcome to Watkins Welcome, and
Thank you,
welcome
Bridget.
to America.
It's great
You're
to be
free
here.
now.
Yeah, landed it free.
Last I just talked to Andrew, and I think you had just been arrested and then got out of. It was really during the whole thing in the UK. I'm glad you're out.
Yeah. No, They made a huge mistake by arresting me. It was great.
Has anything come of that? And for people who don't know, can you just explain very briefly what happened to you? I think most of my audience knows, but
Yeah. Basically, I've just been targeted by trans activists for about 10 years now. They use the police, they use the courts, everything they can throw at me to try and stop me, talking about this issue. And the latest thing is this guy called Lindsay Watson. And he is a disgraced ex-policeman who seems to have some sway in the force because he's able to get them to arrest anyone he wants. Even an ex-policewoman got arrested.
Wow.
For talking about it. Yeah. So he's just been. I think when they arrested me, they were just doing the usual. They were just doing what they were told, not really thinking it through, and they just made a huge mistake because it became worldwide news.
Right.
And it's after 8 to 10 years of trying to get the word out about this stuff. And what it's like. There's a sort of a level that you can't go above. You can talk about it on podcasts, but you can't talk about it on legacy TV anywhere and stuff like this, So it was hard to break free of that kind of gravitational pull. And then I got arrested and I'm on Megyn Kelly and Joe Rogan. And it was just wonderful, It was. Oh, actually, no. Joe Rogan, to his credit, interviewed me before I was arrested.
Yeah, he had you on earlier. Yeah.
Yes, forgot about that.
Yeah.
But it has been like, suddenly, I don't know. It's so weird. I mean, I often describe it as I was made notorious and then punished for my notoriety.
Yeah.
And so, I'm still wondering what I've done wrong. I think the reason that Bill Maher doesn't like me is because I just refuse to use preferred pronouns.
Yeah.
Not like I will use them in private if it's a select group of people and there's no harm to it. But in public, it becomes a political act when you agree with someone that they are who they say they are.
Were you on Mar?
No, he just insulted me. Yeah, and again, I think the only reason I can think of is that I don't take misgendering and dead naming as the taboo that it has been that it's been made. In fact, it's very dangerous to to say to people, we're going to forget your previous name. It's like I always describe Bruce Jenner, even though I think Bruce Jenner is pretty based on a lot of this stuff. But, he drove away from the scene of an accident and came back a woman, and it's like, it seems to happen a lot with people who are trying to escape some aspect of their past. Mm-hmm. There's a guy in the UK who's had 3 or 4 names because he's a fraudster, and his latest name is a female name, so he's able to sue people for transphobia when they cross him.
That's, the fact that this has always been the mind-boggling thing about this issue for me is that you have I was writing at Playboy and it was a very weird time to be writing at Playboy because it was right when they were going non-nude and it was during like Me Too and it was pre-trans activism kind of taking over everything. So it was really like the height of the male gaze is evil and the patriarchy and feminism was really, really at their peak. And so it was strange to me after all of these years of hearing how evil and conniving men would be, that they couldn't consider that men would use this
It's the
to
strangest.
their advantage. I'm like, wait, we just spent like literally years. All I heard about was how men were evil predators, all of them.
Yeah.
And now some men aren't going to use this very obvious trick to get into women's spaces.
I describe it as it's a bit like a beekeeper dressing up as a giant bee to collect the honey.
It's also like you have criminals who are now self-IDing into women's prisons and whatnot. And you're like, why would you think that they wouldn't do that?
Yeah, yeah.
Especially that population of people who are already committing crimes, stealing, identity theft. And it's really, that's been really the most, of all of the many disorienting aspects of the past decade, that in particular has been something that I don't understand how feminists really square it. And yet they do.
I know, yet they do. It is the most extraordinary bit of self-gaslighting I've ever seen. But I guess, it's accompanied by the fear of, you could instantly lose all your social circles, You could instantly lose your livelihood. The way it's been set up, it's very easy for any one of the thousands, millions of people out there who've been told you're a bigot to just find an email address and write a letter.
I'm still dealing with it, by the way.
Really?
I thought it was getting better, and I had somebody telling me yesterday that a external PR company that was working with their company did like a hit job on me, basically, because they were advertising with me. And and it was like they were using titles from Dumpster Fire, which is a satirical show about it's hard to parody the news, as you and I were talking about yesterday. And so it becomes almost like the word I made up. Like when reality becomes parody, it's very challenging to.
When reality,
it's irony squared. Like how do you handle that when irony doubles back on itself and becomes literal?
Yeah.
How do you even make fun of that? Because it's inherently like I just read the news and it's just a straight read of what's happening. Yeah. I don't need to make any jokes about it.
Yeah.
Because it's inherently ridiculous, and so. That's a lot of what we do on that show. But we found one of the things we make fun of is the media ecosystem in general and the way you have to like get attention in media.
Sure.
And so we have notoriously been horrible at the working the algorithm and YouTube. Yep. And I have this joke, like, it's not the algorithm, you just suck. Because people will be like, it's the algorithm. I'm like, no, trust me. Like, the guys who tweak out on this shit are very successful at it.
Yeah.
And do you know Andrew Gold?
Yes.
He's just like a savant when it comes to this
He
stuff.
is, yeah.
He loves tweaking out on it, and it works for him. Yeah. And so we started paying attention, and like every single one of our videos that did well is like, the Democrats have a blank problem. So anytime we insert something in, the Democrats have a blank problem. Yeah. And the one example that this company used was the Democrats have a demon problem.
Have a demon problem.
I'm like, how can you read that and take it seriously? But they'll use it. It's like, it's still around, this was literally this week. So it's not like.
This was to prove you're a religious fundamentalist or something.
That I'm, dangerous and I have ideas that might not be, it's still around. Yeah. And one of my favorite ones was in the height of 2020 George Floyd's Summer of Love or whatever. And we had this meditation app that was sponsoring us, and they canceled with us because I had this guy. His name is Coach T. He's from LA. He works with he's just like a straight black dude from LA. He's also religious, and he works with like young kids and Watts and shit. Yeah. And he came on and he was saying that Black Lives Matter is a white cult.
Right.
And I was dying laughing. And he was like, there are no N-words at any of these protests. He was like, they're just not there. He was like, anyone who is either homosexual, in the arts, or they're confused about their identity. Yeah. And they like, they canceled with us because it was just so ironic. I'm like, A, this is the whitest app in the entire world.
Yeah.
And the fact that you guys are saying for brand safety, you can't be associated with a black man speaking his truth is like beyond parody.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you know, we had from the start of my blog, I worked with a woman who's had to remain anonymous for the whole thing, you know, and she just did this dedicated weekly thread of stories, you know, that everybody else was ignoring, and we realized very quickly that we didn't have to editorialize at all.
Yeah.
We just had to present the facts. And the facts were so upsetting. And that really helped us because without editorializing, it's harder to dismiss the stuff.
Yeah.
You know, because we really were just recounting stories that had appeared in all over the world in some magazine or newspaper or other. Sorry, magazine. There's no magazines.
There are magazines.
There's sort of magazines. Not the way there used to be magazines.
Do you ever write for The Spectator?
No. I think
You
I might have
should.
written a few things for them in the
You
past.
should do their diary. I'm going to hook you up with my editor.
Yeah, yeah.
good at
No,
that.
I'm really enjoying writing now because of AI.
Oh.
Yeah, it's like, it is an absolute pleasure. It used to be what the guy who wrote, what was it called? Not leaving John Malkovich, being John Malkovich.
Yep.
Charlie Kaufman, he said, my job as a writer is I sit down at the computer and I don't know what to do. That's how he described writing as a job. And that has been true for the vast majority of my years on Earth. You know, 55 years, it's been like that.
Yep.
But now it's like a writing partner who you go in, you sit down. What I tend to do is I smoke a joint and I record I use a transcription device and I just blather what I want to talk about and what kind of shape I want it to be and you know and so on and so forth, and it just gives me a first draft.
Yeah.
And the first draft is never in my voice, it's never quite right, but it at least is written down, so you suddenly start. I've always preferred second drafts anyway.
Yeah.
My first drafts, I used to call them toilet paper.
Yeah.
Because I would just write something just so I could put the end at the end of it.
Yeah.
And then read it almost for pleasure and see where it was annoying me or see where it wasn't working for me, you know? And it just means now I can get to that first draft a lot quicker.
Yeah.
You know?
I think that's always like the barrier for people too. You know, I always used to joke about like The Secret, and it'd be like, the person who wrote that book was like, I just envisioned writing a book and then the checks just appeared in the mail. And it's like, yeah, you wrote the fucking book. Like, that's the part that normally trips people up.
Yeah, that's it.
It's not like, they're not like just visualizing, like, you have to do the work. But this is,
absolutely.
It does lower that barrier to entry. We had a great guest on the podcast, Sarah, and she's like very pro AI and was talking about how it can be a partner, and basically humans are you know, like there's something about AI. You shouldn't be insecure about AI, but it does make humans insecure.
Yes.
And she was talking about using it in comedy and how it can't really write jokes yet. I find that it is amazing for brainstorming.
Yes.
It can think of things that I can't obviously think of. It just has access to everything.
Yeah.
And so if you're like, I need 10 instances of, I've been working on this bit about the algorithm actually. And I'm like, give me 10 instances of how the algorithm, of like what people used to do when they were, you know, rituals that they had for honoring primitive gods.
Okay.
And so it will just like be like, and then from there I get to pick and choose. And it's so like, I find it very, like you, I find it very usweful.
Yeah. And imagination can't really fire without input. Like there's a brilliant book called A Technique for Producing Ideas, which was written by a advertising guy. And he realized that, at some point he realized, okay, it is my job to come in every week, listen to a business and come up with a pitch, you know? So he felt that he just couldn't leave it to the muse visiting him, you know? So he developed this system that he swears by, and I have to say I've been using it since, and it's a brilliant system. And what it is the first stage is research. And he says there's two kinds of research. There's the research into the subject, and there's the research you do in terms of your interests and all the books you've already read or the book you're reading at the moment. That's all research as well. That's all the input. And the second stage is you assemble the research into some sort of, like, you write down ideas on cards or a list or whatever it happens to be. And he says the third stage is playing with the material.
Yeah.
So what I do with a sitcom is I write loads of funny ideas or lines or characters on cards, and I put them on a table and just start messing around with them and just thinking about that could be in this episode. This seems connected to this.
That's so fun.
Yeah. But here's the best bit, right? The fourth stage for him is he says, do literally anything else. He says, go to a movie, relax, go on holiday, anything, but don't think about the subject.
Yep.
And he said that sometime during that period of relaxing, you will get the eureka moment.
Totally.
Yeah.
That's been my experience every time. And you read about all these kind of like great thinkers and writers and people that I look up to in the past, and they spent a shitload of time doing nothing. Sitting in cafes, smoking cigarettes, that's talking to people, going for long walks every day.
Yeah.
Just it's always in the shower, that like stupid cliche for me every time I'm in the shower.
Absolutely.
I have been wanting to write a book for 10 years.
Yeah.
And for me, I need a frame. It's like improv. Like if I don't have a frame.
Sure.
Or a frame for something, or like even an essay, I'm like, what is the frame for this? And I've had like this idea, and then one day it was like the whole thing came. I felt like AI, like the whole thing came downloaded to me in the shower, and I was like, "Oh, why didn't I see this? This is totally the way I should frame this book." And it's in my wheelhouse and in my lane, and it's something that I'm excited about, and it answers a question that I have a question to, and but it took 10 years for me to get to that place.
Well, it was you were working on it all that time, down in the kind of deep sea of your subconscious, I mean, that's another reason why I love weed, because for me it just breaks open that door to the subconscious so easily. And maybe if people like the IT crowd, that was written entirely on weed. The whole thing. You would write first drafts I'd smoke a joint and write the first draft. And then when I was editing and when I was trying to be a bit more ordered about it, because you have to have
rational.
A break that comes here and so on. Then I would not smoke. I would.
Isn't that like the old adage, like a adage? How do you say that word? I'm always so bad at saying words.
Good.
Whatever. It's probably wrong.
I don't think there's any other
Someone's
way.
Someone's gonna be like, "Oh, there's Bridget not knowing how to pronounce words again."
Yeah, it's a doggy.
A doggy. the like write drunk, edit sober. That's kind of an old saying. When I quit drinking, I didn't think I would ever write again, because I would write almost every first draft drunk and high. And just like let it all come out, and there was no barrier and there was no self-editing. And and then I got sober, and I don't smoke weed anymore either, which I also found to be it was really my true love. And I was like, I'm never writing again. And it took me a while to be able to write sober, like sit down and not be self-conscious and not be self-censoring.
And also the discomfort of sitting with your subconscious and your subconscious not letting you in on the secrets immediately. Like there's the reason that writers say you have to sit down at your table every day and write, even if you can't write. The reason they say that is because, well, what if you have a great idea and you're not sitting at your table? And but the thing is, the sitting at the table bit doesn't have to be painful now with AI, because with what I do with AI, I mean, for instance, I'll give you an example. I have terrible trouble naming characters. Arthur, my old writing partner on Father Ted, he came up with the funniest names for people. He's a genius on naming characters. Noel Early, stuff like this. No, there was another one, we had our Randy milkman. His name was Pat Mustard.
It's a great name.
It's a great name. And I can't do it. I don't have the whatever skill he had in. He used to be able to break it down for me a little bit. He said it's funny to have a first name of one syllable and a second name with two syllables. Stuff rules like this that I couldn't, remember. So what I do now is I just say, give me 100 names.
Yeah.
And you get 100 names, and you don't have to, like if you don't do that, then you're sitting around going, Paul, Joe.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But like if you do 100 names, they're just there.
You can like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the thing that I think people are not getting with AI is it's not that it's going to supplant you or replace your imagination. Your point of view is still there,
Yeah.
The thing that it's going to do is going to be able to make you produce so much more.
Yeah.
I mean,
just had a funny thought when you were saying the replacement is like, they're like the great replacement theory. I'm like, no one's turned this on AI yet.
Yeah.
We need to start the
great.
Great replacement theory about AI. And that's when people start calling them clankers and like they're marching in the streets. We will not be replaced.
Yeah.
I'd like to take a quick break so we can talk about our sponsor.
Are you dealing with an HMO like I am? It is such a pain in the bum. If I want to get any sort of testing done to ensure I'm making my health a priority, I have to wait weeks for an appointment to see my doctor. Then I have to get a referral from her and wait weeks more for an appointment with the specialist I needed to see. Quest simplifies this process. I can purchase my own lab tests online and test for a multitude of health issues I might be concerned about. Then take those test results to my doctor, better armed with the information I need. At questhealth.com, you can get hundreds of tests across several different categories, from allergies to heart health, hormones, sexual health, women's health tests for egg quantity, perimenopause, menopause, men's health tests for testosterone, prostate, and so much more. These are lab quality tests, the same ones you'd be given at your doctor's office. So prioritize your health and visit questhealth.com today. Use the code WALKINS25 to get 25% off and find answers to the multitude of health questions you may have. That's questhealth.com and use the code WALKINS25 for 25% off. Link in the description below.
It is like a writing coach and a writing partner who gets you to the desk every day. And rather than sitting there and not knowing what to do, like Charlie Kaufman said, you've always got something you can just
mess
say.
Around with.
Yeah. And also because the way like when Google came, first of all, and it took us years, we still do it, where we don't realize we can just ask Google a question. It took us ages to get there. With AI, it's still this thing that sometimes I'm sitting there with a problem and I'm going, oh, how do I get out of this? This is just, I'm never going to be able to fix this script problem, blah, 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 blah. Oh, I'll just describe the problem to AI, and it gives you not necessarily even a solution. It simply allows you to work.
Yeah.
Productive, fun work where you're actually achieving something.
Yeah. I'm a big proponent of using it. Sometimes I think I have to I fucking hate first drafts, but I find now that I've like played around with it enough, it's great for me for organizing my ideas and producing an outline. I get so much out of, usually writing helps me think.
Yes.
It like helps, especially if it's like an essay about something in the call, whatever. If I generally find that I have to write that first draft because it's forcing me to come to my own thinking about it. Like I have to like slog through that draft so that I can clarify my own thinking. And then if there's something not working or something is confusing to me, I can ask my writing coach, like, hey, is there something I'm missing? Because it does function like an editor.
Yeah.
So I will be like, hey, you're my editor. What needs to be expanded on? Where am I being lazy? This was one of my best editors was like, stop being lazy.
Oh, interesting.
Like he would always be like, what is the deeper, like expand on this idea more. And and so I think it's useful when I allow it to like have a perspective on the piece that I clearly don't have because I only have mine.
Sure. And I know what you mean about needing to put that work in, the actual grind of writing something out. And I think that's still there to some extent. But again, even that's just a little bit easier, you know, because you can, I mean, I like, there's a method of screenwriting called a snowflake method, which is, it's more like world building. You know, you create the world and then and so there, you could be sitting down rather than, you know, chapter one.
Yeah.
You know, I was born in as a young black child, whatever. Sorry, that's a jerk joke, Steve Martin. But like chapter one, this happened, and it's boring. It's boring because you may not want to write that yet.
Yeah.
What's much better, I find, is having a neat idea, writing about it for a while, and then worrying about where it goes later.
Yeah.
You know, stuff like that is so helpful to me, you know.
Yeah, I love like, and I would so much rather talk, even like the thing I resent the most about the culture that has happened. And I know you, like I got into Hollywood to tell stories. That's what I wanted to do, and tell jokes.
Yes.
Just make people laugh and come up with, I love world building. It's my favorite thing. I love like 5 minutes in the future. I love period pieces and going back. I like letting characters come alive and then reveal themselves to me. Like you were saying, it's like, all right, well, what would this person do? In this instance, they have their own, they kind of like take on a life of their own.
Absolutely. We often said when we were writing Father Ted on the second and third series, it was like turning on a tape recorder.
Oh,
and just listening to them talk.
Yeah.
It came so easily. And the reason series 2 and 3 were easier was because we now knew who the actors were. So we were writing for them. So it was even, you know, it was just a lovely experience, you know, writing.
How did you come up with that idea and develop it? And
Of Father Ted?
Yeah.
Well, I should explain to people who haven't seen it because most in America won't have. But it's about 3 priests who live on a remote island because they've been put there because they've committed crimes elsewhere. And the Catholic Church at that time, they used to move priests on. So our 3 priests were so bad that they ended up in this tiny island called Craggy Island. It was based on, there's 2 islands next to each other in Ireland called the Blasket Islands and what's the other one? The Aran Islands. And we just called them Craggy Island and you know, and Barren Island. It was world building, you know, we had this, for instance, like, we knew there was a bunch of jokes about how remote and desolate the place was. You know, we used to have all these lines and we'd come up with stuff like there was no north side to the island because it floated away at some point. So there was only a west, east and south. You know, and we just kept having these ideas. It was like, it just luckily happened to be a really good kind of basket for all sorts of different ideas about you know, culture and religion and you know, I guess the kind of men together, you know, because there was 3 men together in the thing, and we were able to write about the Catholic Church's attitude towards women in the form of the housekeeper who was just endlessly enslaved by them and had to do every single job in the house. It was I was delighted to do it, you know. We kind of came up quickly with 6 ideas for the first series because there's no writing teams in the US. Our seasons are really short, and it just took off. It was one of those ones that hit the ground running. We'd done a previous show and we hadn't been involved in the filming. We hadn't involved ourselves in the filming. We thought, no, that's what they do. We sit and we see the finished product. I'm sure it'll be fine,
right?
You know. And we saw it, and it wasn't very good. It wasn't entirely their fault. I mean, we wrote every episode 10 minutes too long. The show was called Paris. It was about artists on the West Bank in Paris in the 20s. So it had lots of jokes like all these artists in the South. Is it the South Bank? Talking about there's one bit where they talk about films and they go, "Oh, do you remember because it was set in the 20s, you know?"
Yeah.
Says, "Do you remember they did the films used to be great. They're not so good anymore, you know. Do you remember train pulling into stations or people coming out of factory?" No, that's a real movie. So we had jokes like that, but
That's great.
but we didn't watch it. We didn't oversee it, and as a result, it, you know, the whole tone of it was wrong. Everything was wrong, and it was just kind of an embarrassment, you know. And we thought our career was over, you know. But luckily, the second idea, I just insisted on being there all the time. I was always looking at the monitor. Every single frame had to be exactly as we wrote it. We drove the director insane until I started directing myself. But yeah, I think when it comes to TV, unless you're working with the caliber of some of the people you see, like let's say the people who did that show. Did you ever see The Leftovers?
Yes.
Amazing show.
Yes.
But every director, incredible.
Yeah.
Just nailed it, you know. Or True Detective season 1. You know, if you're in the hands
He's
of
here.
Huh?
He's here.
Who's here?
The guy who wrote True Detective. He's in Austin.
Phetasy?
Yep.
Yes, okay.
Nick Pizzolatto.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, that's his name. Do you know what I'm getting? Why I said Phetasy? Because it's well known that he took a lot of the speeches in True Detective from a horror writer called Thomas Ligotti. So I always get their names confused. I always merge their names.
Nick is a genius.
Oh, sure.
He wrote that whole first season.
It was
alone.
It's one of the most extraordinary pieces of television
he's
I've
a
ever
genius.
seen. Yeah.
Yep.
The only thing that's slightly...
Next time you're in town, we'll get together.
Oh, that'd be great.
Yeah, he's great. He's a genius.
Yeah. The only thing I slightly was disappointed by was that it wasn't a Lovecraft type, you know, cosmic horror story. I really thought they were going there. And they didn't in the end, because they couldn't really, because it's in the end it's a detective show.
Yeah.
But holy shit, I thought it was so exciting seeing this promise of something almost supernatural building up every week.
Yeah.
I thought that the feeling of dread was incredible.
Yeah. He's you guys would get along, I think, pretty well.
But he's, you know,
special one.
you've got Matthew McConaughey, you've got Woody Harrelson. You know, they're not going to be put in the hands of a director who doesn't know what they're doing. So each director comes in and is as good as they are actors.
Yeah.
It's not like in the UK, comedy directors have never really been great. You know, if you're a great comedy director, then you just become Edgar Wright. You make films.
So does Ricky Gervais direct all his own stuff?
I'm not sure, but I think he's very involved.
He's hands-on.
Yeah.
And sorry, who did Fleabag? She directs, right?
I'm not sure. Sorry, I don't know. I can't remember.
What's her name? Phoebe.
Yes. Who ended up in an Indiana Jones movie. That still blows me away.
Okay.
Why did they think Fleabag, this story of a sexually, you know, promiscuous woman who's trying to seduce, she'd be great in Indiana Jones.
She's like, give me the money.
That is strange.
That is funny.
Yeah.
This is so. You're in the United States now, working with Rob Schneider's corporation.
Friendly Fire, yes.
Okay, and Andrew Doyle was here. He was just on talking about this. What is the hope with what you're doing there? Like, where does you do shows and then they go where?
Well, you know,
streaming or
I guess.
Do you prefer shows or movie, or does it matter to you?
In terms of what I'm working on?
Yeah.
I'm quite enjoying writing movies at the moment because again, it's just, you know. Again, I have a system where with AI where I basically just say,
write me a movie.
No, what I do again, I describe the film, describe the idea, and I say to AI, show me what that story looks like as an outline. It shows me the outline, and then I say, show me what it looks like if you use the save the cat structure, you know.
Yep.
And then I say, show me what it looks like if you use the hero's journey.
Yeah.
You know, and what it does is it just kind of gives you all these different versions of the film that contain all these different scenes, and again, you just pick and choose and rearrange and make it feel like what you originally described.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I want to keep doing that. I've written one, and I want to just get on with the next one. You know.
God, we watched. I have a 3.5-year-old, and we watched E.T. recently, and
yeah.
I was like, "Holy fuck, this movie is so genius." I did not. I mean, I knew it was. You just know that, but when you watch it again as an adult and someone who writes stories and. I'm like, I didn't even realize that you never saw an authority figure's face.
Oh, yeah.
Until they're all in the house and they take over the house, basically. Not other than the mom.
Yes.
She's the only authority figure's face you see for the most of the movie.
What about the teacher? Do you see the teacher in the frog class? No?
I don't think you see the teacher even. Oh, maybe you do see the teacher.
Yeah. Yeah, but no, your point still stands. The first person's face you see who's really significant, you know, the face of all the kind of...
like the man.
Yeah, the man. The foreshadowing. And then when you see him, it's very impactful because, he doesn't seem so horrible. He seems like a nice guy. And it throws you again. You know?
Yeah, it's so good. That movie's so good. She was just like on the edge of the couch. And
good.
She loved it. She was just so... We have kind of a rule. We let her watch Bluey.
Yeah.
And because Bluey's pretty elevated for a cartoon.
Oh, it's lovely, yeah.
It's so cute. And it is funny. We did go through a phase with her where we're like, she started like calling cookies biscuits. And I was like, okay, need to lay off the Bluey. She's like, are we stopping for petrol? I'm like, maybe we should not let her watch Bluey anymore. Take a break from that. But she was so into it. And some of them, like that Sleepy Time one, it is an episode of Bluey that is...
Oh, yes.
It is a work of art.
Yeah.
It's just beautiful. And so there is some good art now. But generally our rule with her is like, you have to watch a movie.
Yeah.
Because it's like beginning, middle, end. It's a story.
Yes,
it requires time. She's not scrolling. She's not on an iPad. She's not on YouTube. It's like, you can watch Disney and you can watch movies and start understanding story. I don't have a problem with that. But, and there's some other cute ones like Tumbleleaf, which is adorable.
Yeah.
My sister, there are some modern adorable shows that are very like heartwarming and creative and... Yeah. But they're so different than the shit we watched. I was like... Yeah,
my kids were in Adventure Time when they were toddlers.
Oh, okay.
They play a sort of a beast that Princess Peach creates and her brother. And my son was much younger and didn't.
How old are they now?
They're now 20 and 18.
Oh wow, okay.
And at the time, my son was so young that his only contribution was just a sort of high pitched scream. You know,
that's a great contribution, though.
Oh yeah. But like, it's so strange hearing my daughter's voice coming out of this wonderful American cartoon. You know,
yeah.
I mean, I loved Adventure Time, but I did notice it was interesting because it was at that time that. I remember the other show that was on was, and my kids loved was, what's that one about the boy with the 3 weird women? What's it called? Oh, and it just turns out to be a load of trans propaganda.
It's weird to like go back in time and see that period too, because there's so much stuff that's coded, but even with, it's like that weird balance with kids where I didn't know what anxiety was until I was in my 20s.
Right.
I didn't know what that term was. I didn't know what it was. I remember I had started getting anxiety. I was in a marriage I didn't want to be in. Like my life was kind of falling apart. I was doing a lot of cocaine. There were many reasons that I probably had anxiety, but I did not know what it was.
Right.
And I was doing tons of yoga. So I was like getting in touch with all of this, but didn't. So I started having like anxiety attacks and I had no idea what they were. And my yoga instructor was like, oh, you're just describing like an anxiety attack. I was like, huh? Like what? I had heard of depression, but I was like, what? What is anxiety? I thought that was like a fake thing.
Yeah.
And in Inside Out 2, it's the like teenager one. So she's going through and she's like has a full blown panic attack. And there's a whole crazy part of the brain that's named anxiety. And we were watching it and I was like, I don't want her.
Yeah.
Like, no.
Yeah.
And she was like, I think it's anxiety. I was like, no, we're not watching this. But anxiety is the most compelling character. She's like got red hair. She's got like just visually very cool. She looks, and she's kind of crazy, and she does all this crazy stuff. And so for toddlers or young people, you even like like young kids, that's the character you're going to focus the most on. And I was like, why are you why are you even putting this in kids' heads? That like I didn't even have that anywhere in my brain. So we don't let her watch it anymore. But because she watched it once, and now she's like, well, Maggie lets me watch it. I'm like, Maggie let you watch it because she didn't know, like my cousin and producer. But she's like, she remembers it from one viewing.
Yeah.
I was like, these fucking sneaky little, like, why are you teaching teenagers? You know, she's having like a panic attack.
Yeah.
I'm like, why are we giving these? They're such like little mimetic sponges.
Yes, absolutely.
Why?
And, you know, it's why the trans thing spread the way it did.
Yeah.
You know, I was just talking to
Justin,
to Justin earlier. Sorry, it jumped out of my mind when I needed it. But you know, Justin was telling me about someone he knew who had a daughter who's caught up in it, and they had 4 friends who had it, you know?
Yeah.
But I'll tell you, interesting thing about Pixar, I believe Pixar is at war at the moment a little bit between the wokesters and the
John Lasseter's.
Yeah, I think there's something going on. But, you know...
Because he got canceled too, didn't he?
I think so, yeah. I think he
like
did.
every story you tell about Hollywood now, it's like, oh, he got canceled.
Yeah.
And they tried, by the way. These are people who tried to like play the game, I think, and toe the line.
Oh, absolutely.
It didn't save them.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, they just keep hitting, like, what you just described, the first Inside Out movie was beautiful, right?
So good.
Yeah, so good. And
it's so genius. Like the train of thought, like all the like... Just it's truly genius the way they represent that stuff.
That lovely lesson that sadness and joy can exist together.
Yes.
You know, it's a melancholy
I'm not a huge fan of the running away thing because I'm like, let's not put that idea in her head. But we're like, oh, she's just going to the store.
Yeah.
I usually fast forward to that part.
But then there's Pixar did something that they used to not do, which is they made a sequel. You know, and the thing about sequels is that, you know, a film is supposed to be about the most important moment in a person's life, right? So then you make a sequel. It's like, well, that wasn't the most important. This is, you know.
Right.
It's like, well, you know, if this was a better or more important thing, it would have been the first movie. And so, and then you have like Marvel.
Although Toy Story.
Well, that's the one exception.
Yeah.
But they made 4. That's the big, like Tarantino said he's not even going to watch number 4, you know.
Oh, what's the 4th one about?
Oh, I don't know. The grandson of the first character. I can't remember, you know. But like
the first 3 though.
Oh, they're amazing. Yeah. No, there are exceptions that prove the rule, you know. But in general, I think that what happens with sequels is that, especially when you have something where it's such a faded photocopy now, like the Marvel movies, you know, all you can do really is put woke messages in there to make them seem new.
Yeah.
So it's like, well, it's Captain America, but guess what?
He's gay.
He's black or he's gay, yeah. And it's like, well...
Everyone's like, he was always gay.
But it's like, it's not really creative thought. That's it's kind of social engineering thinking.
Yeah.
So
that's why I'm so excited you and Andrew are doing this, and that's been really my focus as things like last night when we were at that event that you and I were both at, and I was saying everything is like, it's not good right now in the discourse, you know, like things feel like flattened, and even as much joy as dumpster fire brings me, because it's the only way I can process what's going on.
Yeah.
I still am like, I still want to return to my roots of like telling stories.
Yeah.
And I've had these 2 ideas, like actually 4 ideas that have just haunted me forever. I've worked on them for years, decades. I was offered money for one of them and said no because I wanted to keep it. People love the idea. And I'm like, there's not many gatekeepers and I don't have very much time, but we can still do this. And so I think that will be my salvation, is just trying now to take all of this information, because like you, I didn't want to I don't know. I just feel like a lot of very artistic people got dragged into the culture war, and it's not necessarily where we belong. We obviously belong here because I do think we're fighting for something that we believe is right, and children and all of the things that we've covered ad nauseum in many, many podcasts. But now it's like, okay, can we move on? Telling stories and giving these kids in particular a compelling vision or a creative vision or something other than doomerism. I don't have the kind of doomer outlook on AI. I think we have to, like anything, it's a tool. We have to, would we go back in time and say the printing press was bad? No. Yeah. Some might.
You would. I think you would if you lived in the first 100 years since the printing press. No,
that's what I mean. Was there a time where it was like
it was like massacres? Pogroms.
Witch
for
hunts.
100 years. And that's what I think is possibly happening with the internet now as well. Mm-hmm. You just have every. There's a strange thing. I think because I come from like the pre-internet days. I remember how if you saw a review of an album, the powerful effect that has on you.
Yeah.
If they like it, you think, oh, that's going to be good. That's going to be good. If they don't like it, that doesn't sound very good. It's like, but because it's written down, it's just because it's written down, it has this power, So you would, like, I remember there was a thing in the music magazine years ago where they had 2 classic albums by 2 different artists at the peak of their powers. One was the Go-Betweens, an Australian band who were amazing, and the other was Prince, who had just brought out the album with Kiss on it. Which one was that? I can't remember. But anyway, Parade, I think. Is it Parade? And they were both great, but they gave the reviews to 2 journalists who hated both. One who hated Prince and the other who hated the Go-Betweens, just to be interesting. So these 2 masterpieces by these 2 artists got the worst review of their life, because the editor wanted it to be interesting. And, I just find I find it extraordinary that the written word is still so powerful that someone can write something down and people will just believe it.
Yeah.
Because things like that prove it's just nonsense, It's like, and especially with AI now, because you could get, in one way it's great because I say to people who have a great story and who don't feel confident enough to write, just tell it to AI and let AI take care of all the kind of bolting it together that you don't know how to do. Mm-hmm. You've got a great story. That's the important thing, mm-hmm. But at the same time, there's also, I guess, a danger of people who have terrible stories and stories that are, again, counterintuitive and confuse you and make you think, why is this a film? And they're going to be making a lot of stuff as well,
Everything feels a little bit like AI now. It's weird. It's weird. I used it to I was experimenting with it, and now I've found I've just completely backed away from it from first drafts, from the working part of it. So brainstorming, outlining, amazing.
Yeah.
I have no problem, but actually doing the work of it makes it, I feel like AI doesn't struggle.
Yeah.
And when there isn't that struggle that the writer themselves had to go through to sit down at that fucking page and stare at the blankness and pull whatever is inside of them out.
Yeah.
There is something in that is not an AI. And I don't know if that's the imperceptible weird thing that when I'm watching shows, I'm like, what is that? Like, I don't know what this feeling is.
But I always, I saw a clip from a movie with Jennifer Hewitt, is that her name?
Mm-hmm.
This sort of sex bomb type actress.
Yeah, Jennifer Love Hewitt. Yeah.
And she was in this movie with Ray Liotta, and she played a sort of con woman who uses her body to seduce men and make money off them, that type of thing. But she falls in, there's a bartender who
Tale as old as time.
Yeah, there's a nice bartender meets her, and the first scene where he meets her, he comes up and he says, "Do you want a drink?" And she thinks she's hitting on him. So she does what I guess the screenwriter thought would be a funny list of, she says, "This is what you could have said." And, I guess they think this shows she knows the streets and knows men, And it was like a list of the most banal gags I've ever seen, like 10 in quick
an AI
succession.
list.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I just think that wasn't pulled and wrenched out of that guy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
It's just like the first thing that occurred to him, and something that I would never allow to make to the final screen, to make to the final audience. So I just feel, if people are writing like AI, then, what's the difference in a way? If there's going to be hackery, then, get it done faster, I guess, but.
Yeah, there's still, I mean, I guess my only argument to that would be that even hacks had to struggle to be hacks.
Really? I don't know about that.
They still had to sit down and struggle to get it out.
Sure. But that's just a physical thing of typing.
Yeah.
I think hacks are
lazy.
Yeah, well, I don't think they have any trouble. I think their fingers just
right
almost dance without them having to think about it.
Yeah. No, it's such a weird thing because I find myself getting the uncanny valley feeling about everything.
Yeah, I know. What you
everything
mean.
in life now I'm like, is that AI? I'm looking at things happening in real life going, am I hallucinating?
I've seen the first victims, people just sharing stuff saying, how can people behave like this? And you're like, it's AI. They're not behaving like that.
I know. These animal, the Ring videos of animals with guns that are everywhere right now.
Do you know what my theory is about that?
Yeah, no.
Sorry, you wouldn't.
What if I was like, yes? AI told me last night when I was preparing for this interview.
But I think that the reason those particular videos are so believable is because they have so much material.
Yeah.
From all the Ring cameras, all the CCTV cameras, they're able to recreate it and make it seem more realistic.
Oh, yeah.
So I don't know. That's
no, that's a good theory.
Yeah, I bet that's true.
I mean, it's just this is something that I've been joking about on Dumpster Fire and contemplating and found fascinating is the reaction to that heist was the recent heist.
Oh, yeah.
The reaction was, this is so wholesome. How do you get away with this in a time where we've all bought into global mass surveillance? And you're like, ugh. There was something creepy about the reaction to me that everyone was like, oh, you can still get away with this? That's amazing.
I know what you mean, actually. Yeah, it's
there's something so quaint about it was nostalgia. There was this deep sense of nostalgia for the times before we were all surveilled. And we bought into this, and I was talking to my best friend about this the other day. I'm like, I really do worry that my daughter is going to be like, so you guys just you just did this because you wanted to have what? McDonald's delivered to your door? You lazy fucks. You bought into this because you wanted to share selfies? You're such losers.
Yeah,
why did you just go with this? Why did you run with all of this?
Yeah.
And now I don't know. I don't know how we get out.
Yeah. Yeah. I think Brett Weinstein said we're not going to be able to lean too heavily on information. The days of us seeing a video and sharing it, are gone. I mean,
aren't we already at the point? People are like, what's going to happen? Video evidence isn't going to be allowed in court. Yeah. And I'm like, how is it now?
Yeah.
How would you think that these boomer judges and people who are a lot of these prosecutors and people who aren't very online, and that's the other thing that's fascinating to me that I obsessively think about is, and talking to Soren last night, just how she's an internet researcher, basically, how if you aren't very online, God bless you, I envy you. But on the other hand, it's a little bit like they say, you know, politics are downstream of culture, but culture is downstream of the internet.
Yeah.
So there's like a whole world occurring on the internet that's like 5 years in the future.
Yeah.
And while you and Megan were talking last night at that event, this article is blowing up online. I don't know if you've read it yet, and it's a Harper's article all about gooning, like goon culture.
Really?
It's huge.
Oh
It's
my
like
God.
it actually reminds me of the days when a like really well written, well edited article, well reported article could go viral and it can create like its own discourse.
Yeah.
And it is fascinating and terrifying look into these young men who are online and are addicted to porn and have multiple
That sounds, I got to read that.
Oh, it's so good.
That sounds amazing.
It's so good. And
Yeah.
it's also terrifying.
Yeah.
But that's my general feeling about everything. And this is also one of the funny things that you see on the internet. And I love the internet. We have a whole segment on Dumpster Fire, The Internet is Glorious. And it's like whatever funny thing that we found that week that we just are obsessed with.
Yeah.
And there's the whole, I think it was like a Twitter account that was devoted to it or something, or a Reddit thread, and it was all the different Seinfeld plots that wouldn't work now.
Yeah.
Yeah, how do you write anything mysterious?
I know. I often think about that. Like if you're doing a crime movie, can you set it now anymore?
I'm struggling with it because I have a I think it was going to be a show. I wanted it to be an old school multi-camera show.
Yeah.
My manager's like, I don't know if there's enough for it. I personally think there is, but I've got to deal with the surveillance problem.
Yes. It's crazy, isn't it? And I
don't know how to deal with that.
The only way around it is to set everything in the 90s.
Yeah.
And it's like for no reason something set in the 90s.
Well, there's so much 90s nostalgia, you could probably get away with it. I think right now you'd be like, if you were pitching it to like a, production company, you'd be like, the kids are really into the 90s right now. Like 90s nostalgia is everything.
Remember Nirvana?
But it's really just us lazily trying to get around the surveillance problem.
Yeah. No, that problem is God. Do you remember the Seinfeld one where they're trying to get the tape out of out of the answering machine?
Yeah. And so much of it is like, oh, I missed a call. I'm waiting for a call.
Yeah.
Like, Kramer's at the payphone. Like we don't have. We were walking through, where were we? Somewhere. And it was like, my daughter was like, what's that, mommy? And it was a payphone. And I was like, I've never felt so ancient in my life.
That's brilliant.
I was like, this is a thing called a payphone.
Yeah.
And she was like, what is that? And she like FaceTimes her grandma every day.
There's a great...
And knows how to like swipe away. Like at 2 years old was like swiping away notifications. I'm like...
there's a great line in a William Gibson novel who wrote all
Necromancer and all those.
Yeah. Neuromancer. And he
Necromancer.
And there's a guy.
Necromancer is the. We don't want to see that one.
There's a guy in an antique shop, and he sees a phone, and he says something like, an old rotary phone reminded him of the etymology of the word dial. And you sort of, when you look at the world through those kind of lenses, gosh, it's such an interesting time to have all these kind of remnants of the time before, like phone boxes and so on,
It's so weird.
It really is, especially, I don't know how old you are, but I'm 57.
I'm 40. I'll be 47 in a month.
I think I lived exactly
weeks.
half my life before the internet. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's a strange place to be.
It is weird.
I often look at young people and I think, what must the world look like to you? You've grown up with swiping and
I have no idea what it's going to look like for my daughter, because we're basically at the upward curve of AI.
I know. Yeah. That's, I think about that a lot.
She's going to be, my husband, Jaron, was saying we're going to have a clone room where the clone lives so that grandma can clone in. and like come visit in person.
That's so good.
You know?
Yeah. Like a room full of your relatives in one part of the house. You don't like going into it when they're not cloned. It's a bit
Do
creepy.
they just sit like this until you like want to have them like come
That's
visit?
such a great idea. We got to develop that.
We should. There's so much I want to do. All right. Well, I know you have to run to the airport. Tell us where we can find you.
You can find me on my Substack, which is mainly about the gender issue, or Twitter. Which is also mainly about the gender issue, but I'm pulling back from all that as
our conversation proved. I think.
Yeah, I think so. We didn't really cover it, did we?
Thank God.
Yes, thank God.
We're storytellers.
Yeah, absolutely.
I wanted to talk to you about that.
It.
Like you're somebody that I've looked up to. You have this show that people love. Like people want to hear about what your process is and how you not just that's everyone's heard about the trans stuff.
That's the freedom that comes with being here. It's so great.
You're not going to get arrested.
Yeah. Like at least not for that.
I'm going to come visit you guys in Arizona.
We should do this again.
We'll develop.
I'm trying to get Andrew to do a podcast because there's not enough podcasts. We could get you on. We could do the same thing. Yeah,
it would be great.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Thank you so much.
This has been Walk-Ins Welcome with Bridget Phetasy. I'm Bridget Phetasy, and you're welcome. It's the dumbest line.